when you're being killed and you're not man enough is the wrong word every team would want to say. We don't want to like to hear this. And that's the word to say. But it's a very big Saturday morning in the city of Lagos. Welcome to the place to be at all time. We have a lot to talk about on the show today. Guess what? It's so much to look into. And basically, we love to look into the Nigerian Football Federation news. And guess what? It's as deep as you just cannot even imagine it. And on the show today, I have men with me on the show. I like to use the word men. When you say men, they are here to dissect, to go the nitty-gritty, to know what's really going on. And then you hear for yourself whose report do you believe is the word. My name is Kizzy K, and I'd like to start off with the first news that we have here on the show today. It's all about one man, former Super Eagles coach, you could say former Super Eagles captain, Sunday Oliseh, has called on Nigerian football clubs to take strategic lessons from the ongoing 2025 FIFA Club World Cup in the US. And people are asking questions, why that tournament? But citing the impressive performance from clubs like Real Madrid, Al Ahly, they did lose, we saw the game. But then Inter Milan, Inter Miami, Oliseh urged the Nigerian team to invest in proper planning, infrastructure, and professional systems. He also went as far as stressing that the Club World Cup provides and offers more than just prestige. It provides financial benefit to global exposure and then development opportunities through FIFA programs. Referring to surprise win in Botafogo game, where we did see Botafogo winning that very game. It was Igor Jesus, goodness me, scoring against Paris Saint-Germain, the well-known team that everybody could say the king of Europe, and they lost. And also Inter Miami, Messi, the humans, I'm saying AI, wonderful free kick. When that free kick came, I knew it was done. And Oliseh's ambition and structure can close the gap with top European clubs. So he's emphasizing that we can be better. Now, encouraging Nigerian clubs to force to dominate locally, qualify for continental tournaments, and then aim globally, he concluded. He said, the Club World Cup isn't for dreamers, it's for doers. So if Sunday Oliseh can come out to say it's not for dreamers and it's for doers, then where do we put the Nigerian Football Federation? Where do we put the Super Eagles? And when I look at the FIFA Club World Cup ongoing at this point, I begin to wonder if it was a team, or if we had a team like Remo Stars, Eyimba, possible Rangers International, maybe, I don't know what the case would be or what would have looked like. But not bad to see teams like Al Ahly, talk about teams like Eastern East, seeing teams also being involved in this one from the African shores, Mamelodi Sundowns, the South African basic team is all good to talk about. But on the show today, we will be looking into so many things, but you don't want to miss. So let's have the house. Great to have you all on the show today. The weekend kickoff. Good morning. Well, I want to greet first. David, you're wearing red. No, we'll not talk to you first. Bubblegum. Let me talk to this man. It's been... Ikechi, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you sure you're good?
Yeah, good morning, Kizzy.
You sure you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right, let's have you. Go on.
Oh, boy.
David, welcome to the show.
Well, good morning and welcome. Thanks for having me as well.
All right, so Jerry, you good?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so
I don't know the side eye.
you don't know what?
When you asked me, he was giving me side eye.
He gave you a sign.
He gave me side eye, but
No.
I don't want to say it. It is what
Okay,
it
so
is.
guys, let's talk about Sunday Oliseh. I don't know what Sunday Oliseh actually means. Maybe you
Yeah.
need to educate me. Oliseh is saying we should look into. I understand the infrastructure part, but is there anything to look out for from the Nigerian Super Eagles perspective, looking at the FIFA Club World Cup?
It's funny, though. First off, it's funny because I think Sonny Lisa is trying to grab penalty or throw in. You know who to face. You know who
Right.
to call. I mean, why are you not calling them? If you want to tell Nigerians and the rest of the world how to do it right, call the names. It's like when you want to talk about insecurity in Nigeria, the first person you want to talk about is the president. Because in the constitution, if the man at the helm of affairs does not take care of security of lives and property, which is his first primary assignment
Right.
from the constitution, that means he's done wrong. So if you want to talk about Nigerian football and Nigerian football clubs not going to Club World Cup, it means you have to talk first on the part of the body that powers football in Nigeria, which is the NFF. Why are you not trying to talk to them? I mean, they expect, say, you could get one new contract. You don't want.
But we used to know Oliseh as a blunt
Oga,
man. I don't think
you and
Oliseh.
I.
I don't think Oliseh is scared of the Nigerian Football Federation. I don't think.
The last time I checked, he's trying to play safe.
Oh, you think he's trying to play safe?
He's personally trying to play safe. That's my personal opinion of it.
All right, so Jerry, let's have you on this.
Yeah, I think I have a contrary opinion in the sense that Oliseh is someone who always throws caution to the wind. Someone who forfeited his chance of captain the national team to the
That year.
2002 World Cup. That was a big opportunity
Right.
for him. Because the last World Cup he went to before that, I think that was 98.
Yeah, France
Yeah,
98.
yeah.
France 98, and he was not the captain of the team. And this would have been a big opportunity for him. But he threw caution to the wind and stood his ground alongside his other players who were cabal in the team and decided to leave. Same thing he also did when he was coach of the Super Eagles. We all know how he created a lot of rancor between him and some of the players and dumped the national team at the dying minute. And of course, we know the story. But for this, I think we should not talk about the message. Let's talk about the message. The thing is that, had it been it was back in the days when Enyimba was doing well on the continent, Enyimba should have been at the Club World Cup.
Yeah, true.
It shows you that as at that time there was something Enyimba was doing right. That is why the team was playing among the big players when it comes to the continent of Africa. But take a look at our succession when it comes to the CAF Champions League. We cannot even boast of making it out of the group stages because we have lost the competitiveness. We are no longer in the big leagues when it comes to African football. And it's pretty sad that nobody is doing anything about it. And it has to do with individuals who are committed and have the resources. That is the governor of Abia State at the time, who was Ojus Okalu. We have billionaires in this country. And I saw there was a competition that was organized recently in Lagos where a lot of people were buying club sides and they had a competition and 50 million was given to the winner. We have people who have the will without. If they are given the opportunity, if they have the will also,
Right.
I think we don't have problem having our team playing at the Club World Cup. It just has to do with the will, the political will of individuals to come out and say, this is high time Nigeria should be playing among the big leagues. Let's have a club side. Mamelodi Sundowns is being sponsored by a billionaire who's currently the CAF president.
Right.
So the South Africans have become intentional. They've seen that football is big business. They started with hosting the World Cup. Had it was a country like Nigeria that hosted the World Cup, by now we'll be talking about failed projects. Maybe a lot of the stadiums would have been abandoned. A lot of people would have made a lot of money and don't care about the future of the game. But South Africa has taken advantage of hosting the World Cup. Since then, Mamelodi Sundowns, both the male and the female, are challenging on the continent. They won the CAF Champions League. So other teams are also rallying up. Their league is stable. So same thing with the North African sides. They've continued to be stable. Morocco just went to the semi-final of the World Cup. But Nigeria, we are struggling to even qualify now. That shows that we are regressing while others are progressing. It's really sad.
Okay, so Ikechukwu, you want to go contrary to this, but everybody knows this. If I want to go from what Jerry has just said, I love the fact that you talk about Mamelodi Sundowns. If you look at the team, basically at the AFCON, just concluded one for this Morocco, we're coming 21st December, you will see that most of the guys ply their trade in that team. And you begin to see Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, just 3 of them. So it's a whole lot to look into. And Ike is always saying, advocating for procedure. But it seems like there's something that we need to do, Ike.
Well, I'll start with Sunday Lise.
Right.
They say you get reason why poor man, family they always they large because they talk too much instead of working.
You can say that again. So, because today is a Saturday, I wish it was a Friday. I would have said, what did you just say? I didn't get that.
Poor man, the born became too much because he talked too much instead of working. The thing we see.
All right, I can hear you go on.
The truth is, in this part of the world, we talk too much. We don't take practical steps, and that's why we are actually in the position we are in. Jerry made so many salient points, and the thing is, if you must progress, first the government needs to hands off the league. So Jerry was talking about Enyimba. Right. The glory of Enyimba was due to the governor. He was a football-loving governor. Not because there's something special in that state at that point.
It's the law. It has.
In fact, Abia State at that point was one of the dirtiest states in Nigeria. It's not like something special outside football was happening in Abia State. But because he loved sports, he invested a lot. He left, and ever since he left, Enyimba went down the drain.
Yeah.
So now the question is, which private businessman will look at his company go down the drain? A club side in Nigeria that played against Inter Milan that had likes of Ronaldo at the point in a friendly game. And after that friendly game, they conquered Africa, back to back on 2 occasions. Yeah. It says a lot about the project at that point. And they had the best coaches in Nigerian local league to handle that team. The likes of Kari Kana, Emodi and co. These guys have wealth of experience and they brought it. And the best set of players, even across Africa, Jotes Frimpong from Ghana is their captain. Muri Ogunbi, the Benin Republic midfielder, was also part of the team. So we'll look at that thing. But the question now is this. How many billionaires? Yes, we have one in Ikene now doing very well with Jeremy Star, right? But how many billionaires will want to actually invest where there's no security? What happens to your best set of legs? Jerry, you remember the other day where you were talking about this Ikorodu City project, and then the guy that came on set that day was saying that yes, was saying that okay, if they made it to the continent, how are they going to actually fend for financial burden on that team? And they're looking at, and he ended up saying that perhaps he might just go the Bambiala way. No, it was funny, but
they were going to plead to Lagos government.
So it says a lot about the project and how we actually see things in this part of the world. People don't want to invest, and I'm not going to blame them because I'm not going to also put my money here where there's no. Okay, now you're saying that Nigerian clubs have to actually take a cue from what? So yes, everybody's taking a cue. Everybody wants to be part of it, but what is the political way there to actually ensure that everywhere is safe? We see players travel from one state to another and they get attacked and they get robbed. Nobody wants to put their money, and when there's no investment, the league will not grow. That's why we have young players at 16, 17, 18, 19 leaving the shores of the land where they're supposed to even have play 1 or 2 seasons to get more developed. Back in the days, why we had the best set of players in Africa in between the 80s and 90s, because most of these guys actually grew up here. They understood the dynamics of how Nigeria and the Nigerian national team wants to play. But today, many of them go abroad at 16, 17. When you call them back, you barely recognize them.
Yeah, I also want to say that football follows development anywhere it is. And any footballing country that is doing well is a reflection of the society it's coming from. Because if you take a look at South Africa, the country is already having a system that shows that it encourages development. So therefore, there would be no way that their football system will not rub off of it.
Definitely.
We're having situations of bad leadership. We have back behind when it comes to infrastructure. How many of our club sites have standard, FIFA recognized standard pitch that can even host CAF games? When the CAF Confederations or CAF Champions League, I'm telling you, they are not up to 2 or 3.
Do we have?
If we even have, maybe that's
the only stadium that's
the only
so that means if Remo Stars is going to be playing on the
CAF.
continent, they'll be playing their home games to New York, which is also a neutral ground for them. At the end of the day, they'll be playing their home games at a stadium they don't really understand, and we give them a disadvantage.
How many of their fans will even travel?
I mean, that's another part that we're not even talking about.
Let's even talk about what 2003 Koja game.
Yeah.
Immediately after the Koja All African Games, immediately after the buses and everything,
they were moving everywhere.
They changed everything. The stadium was abandoned.
This is actually not a right one to talk about Nigeria, and you know how bad it's been or how it's been. This thing we keep talking about this all of the time, and every day we keep saying this, and it doesn't sound like there is what's the word? It doesn't sound like there is a renovation about this, but it's so sad to talk about Nigerian football.
Also even say, sorry to quote you, should we also say that the law of gravity is catching up with Nigerian football? Because when you mentioned the past years of Enyimba having to win CAF Champions League back to back, it simply means at that point we were up there. So are we coming down? Of course, the law of gravity, nobody stays at the top forever. Is that what is happening to us? But then even if it's happening to us, we should at least stay to a medium space.
Not going down
the drain, like, I mean. We will struggle to make.
Let's just keep on. Let's move on. I mean, sometimes when we feel like this is all wrong and nothing is being done, but who's supposed to be the one to take up this affair?
The government. No matter how you look at it, the government
can't do without
has
the government.
A major role.
Yeah,
major role.
Because the way our country is being set up, the way our structure is, the government plays a major role. They have to create the infrastructure, first of all. They also need to encourage individuals who want to involve themselves in sport. The thing is that any country that has sporting facilities, their sport infrastructure is okay. The youth tend to shy away from violence and vices. Because, for instance, what more can the government give back to the youth? For instance, if we are doing well football-wise, we are doing well in other sports. Imagine a lot of garage boys that will leave the bus stop and so on and so forth, and start playing football, doing boxing, athletics, and so on. And that means that eventually, even when they are playing at home, you're also going to, you know how many people that take care of a club side? Let's take a look at Manchester, the 20 club sides. And imagine how many staff each club hires. Maybe let's say 1,000 staff, or let me say 500 staff members for 20 clubs. Imagine how many jobs that will be created. We have 20 good running club sites. Talking about the groundsmen, people who do the kits and so on and so forth. It will rub off on everybody, but unfortunately, we don't have leaders that have vision.
Unfortunately,
that is really sad.
That's what we suffer in this part of the world, because looking at the fact that what you said earlier, if you do not create an enabling environment for businessmen to thrive, I'm sorry, no businessman wants to put his money there. Nigeria is a country where we only believe in let's eat from the NNPCL, the oil money, and all of that. After that oil money, we're not even thinking of any other thing. This is a country that has the major amount of young people across Africa. And to think that we're not even utilizing that space of having this young amount of people, I mean, it's terrible. We're only hoping that the government would do right.
And we need angels.
We need
angels. Because the government might decide.
let me hold you.
The government might decide to invest maybe 500 billion. Who is the woman being in Nigeria that is going to secure that money and make sure it's utilized? That
so you mean you can't pick out? You mean you can't? There's no person you can pick out.
There are very few people that will be sincere.
That's another conversation.
Because immediately the person is given that position to handle that money, that person is already dreaming of becoming a billionaire.
Okay, that's not how. No, we have to move on, guys. Let's move on, please. Let's go on. Quickly, let's talk about John Obi Mikel is in the news today. Yes, Mikel Obi, former Super Eagles captain, has revealed he personally paid over 50 million naira to charter a flight for Nigeria under-23 team to the 2016 Rio Olympics after the squad was stranded in Atlanta due to a lack of funds. Now, despite an approved government budget, no support came, prompting Mikel to act to prevent the team from missing the tournament. The team later won bronze, Nigeria only medal at the games, where Mikel Obi said he has yet to be reimbursed but feels proud of his contribution. His disclosure ignites concerns about financial mismanagement in Nigerian sports. It goes back to what we are talking about. Sounds like you knew about it, but guys, let's get this right. One thing about Mikel, I respect Mikel. I like Mikel, but a lot of people are beginning to say Mikel Obi just want to be on the outside. Mikel Obi likes to talk a lot, but what you do when you have a podcast, you should be talking well. Now, Mikel has visited a lot of podcast venues. He's just doing well for himself, I must say. But this is a slap to the face of Nigerian football, Nigerian sports to say. But I want to say, why is this coming up now?
It has always been in the news. This is not new. Mikel has said it
several times.
In fact, when it happened,
so if you have said this, I'm just saying, if you have said this, like Taribo West rightly said, I can't recall how much I'm owed. If you have said this, and like you rightly said, I mean, I've heard this news before. He has said it a couple of times. Why now? Like I'm asking, is it in advance to let us know what's going on, that we don't have that mismanagement, or don't have that management, or is he trying to be in the news?
No, I think the news here is that is the fact that he's yet to be reimbursed.
So that's the
news.
Right.
But whether this has happened and he said it before, he has said it before. I think even when it happened, it actually made the news that Mikel was actually the one, who was supporting the team. But it's so sad. Back to what we were saying. This is strictly a government thing. This has nothing to do with private sector because it's an embarrassment to the country. I mean, if you're not ready to go, it's nothing. Just pull out. It's not the first time we actually pulling out of a tournament. We did that in 96 Nations Cup, where Abacha and Mandela had issues over the Ogoni 9. So we also got sanctioned for the Nations Cup again 98 for failing to be part of 96 Nations Cup. So it's not the first time. If we know, instead of going there to embarrass ourselves in that Olympics, I mean, why don't you just say, hey guys, don't go. We don't have enough money to persecute this and stay behind. But then it's Nigeria. Shame
how many years from now?
Let's not forget that was the only team that won the medal.
Yeah,
in Africa.
At that Olympics, it was the Olympic team that took silver. They went to the final.
Oh boy!
So
No, bronze.
Bronze.
Was it-
Yeah, they took bronze.
bronze. Was it bronze medal?
Yeah.
Okay.
2016.
But we came back with
2016.
something. They came back with
That
something.
was
That's
the
what-
most woeful tournament that Team Nigeria ever went to.
Yes.
And we just transitioned from one government to the next government, which was
Jonathan to
General Mohammed Buhari's
no,
government.
Jonathan to
Yeah,
Jonathan to
they just handed over.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows that at that time, the government felt sport was not the thing for them. They didn't even want the team to go. That was the body language coming from the presidency.
should have just said so. Instead of this, well,
No,
embarrassment.
the body language was already there. They were
Embarrassment
not
in the
even
house.
willing to support the team. And at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
what do you say?
Embarrassment in
government,
the house.
the thing is that our government in Nigeria are perpetual debtors. They know what they only basic that is their name.
Well, if
They
you,
are, and you cannot shame the shameless. They
if
don't
you,
care.
If you talk about
They
the
don't care.
government, why are you not talking about the NFF?
The
is
NFF
the
are the
government.
products of the
I mean,
government.
they work
They
with
are
the
all
government,
the same. They are all the same carcass.
The reason why I said let's talk about the NFF is
Right.
they also receive funds from FIFA, CAF, and the likes. In fact, let's also put it there. Since after that event, the NFF have received monies in thousands of dollars.
Even
From
the Olympic
CAF.
Committee has even paid them
Olympic
for
Committee has
appearance
given
fee.
them
Why
several
stop
fees.
them?
Okay.
Why are they not
Because
paying?
Okay, let me ask you now. In a family, the first son is the father gives him money to actually give his siblings, and now this first son, every time this thing happens, he takes the money, puts it in his pocket, and then the siblings doesn't really
Then
get
there's no
something.
accountability.
They rarely get something,
Right.
and then they complain. The father does nothing. Who is the thief? Is it the first son or the father?
Everybody that's
So when you call the NFF
Yes.
for not living up to billing,
Let's also talk about
who
the
is supposed
government.
to sanction the NFF? Kizzy, how far the 17 billion way
I think
EFCC?
they're still working on it.
I like that line.
So you see exactly
that
my
line, I like that line.
point. When Kizzy was talking about that thing last year,
Yeah, last year.
I said, Kizzy, months to come, we'll have this
That's
conversation.
about
I'll ask you how far that money.
17 billion.
Is it not PSG?
That's the price.
PSG.
That's the government.
Presidential support
That's
group
everything.
and EFCC.
There was even a case of where they said $200,000 was taken away from the safe at the NFF glass.
But all
house.
these things,
That
investigation
was
investigation is
about
ongoing.
15 years
Still
ago.
And investigations are still
They say
ongoing.
nobody, they don't know who went to the safe, and this safe was under lock and key. That means the key was with somebody. But I'm telling
And they didn't
you,
break the safe. Oh.
the safe was intact. But when they opened it, $200,000
Was
flew
missing.
like,
Why would what is
mosquito and
$200,000 doing in the NFFC?
that was money provided for participation in
So
competition.
why can't they just put it in the bank?
No, why would they put it in bank? They can trace
It's
it
allocated
if
already.
it's stolen now.
Yeah.
So now if it's in cash, when they move it, nobody can trace it. It's only years we hear that there was money
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
and the money is gone. Corruption is embedded in our football.
Okay.
It's a reflection of our society.
All right, so we still keep moving. Corruption. I think that's one thing we always talk about Nigerian sports. You barely will talk about Nigerian sports without putting in that word corruption. It feels like we live in this, we imbibe in this, and this doesn't sound cool for the nation. But regardless, I already talked about John Obi Mikel in the news again. He's still here to talk more. Now, one of the reasons why I was asking the question that says, why is this coming out? I recall a time on the show when someone said to me, if there's anything Nigerians do a lot, or is there anything we do so much, we love distraction. But this is someone's money, 50 million naira. I don't know, 50 million naira then, with the value it was at a point, converting to what it is today. You don't want to check it out, and that's why Mikel Obi is in the news. But let's talk on Mikel again. Mikel Obi said winning the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations with Nigeria was more special than his 2012 UEFA Champions League triumph with Chelsea. Speaking on that, he went on, I told you, visiting a lot of podcasts. It was with Peter Crouch, the former England international striker and also Liverpool legend. He emphasized the pride and emotion of achieving success when his national team is giving out well, and also giving football deep cultural importance in Africa. He criticized those who downplay AFCON's significance, highlighting the sacrifice made to win it. Now, General Mikel also reflected on the unforgettable celebration in Nigeria after their victory and praised the team's resilience in upcoming, a tough and overcoming, a tough start, eventually lifting that very trophy. Now, we cannot talk more about the AFCON without giving a big reference to that of 2013, the last time we clinched on the trophy, and that the coach, you know the story, the man who gave Trust Ekong his deputy, the Kaduna game back in 2015, and today he's no more the big boss. He was that good that they have to rename the stadium after him in Delta State. And I'm talking about late Stephen Keshi. But guys, let's talk about this one. I don't know. We used to hear the word that says winning a major trophy. They are both majors. I don't know if this one is a political one. I don't know. I don't know. Because a lot of players will come out tomorrow and tell me they prefer winning the Champions League than the AFCON. You know? So is this really a true talk? Or is this one a replication of, is this sending a message to Jamie? I don't know, Karaga? I don't know.
Well, maybe you ask one of their brother here.
Oh,
the
Liverpool.
black brother.
Okay, Jerry, just tell us about this quickly. Wait, sorry, on that talk, was he supporting Karaga?
No, definitely I didn't support.
Okay, not support
Jamie
Martin.
Carragher. But the thing is that Carragher has his own perspective. He's an
Jerry,
Englishman.
don't, Jerry,
The thing is
don't.
that he's an Englishman. He will never appreciate the African Cup of
Oh,
Nations.
that's why.
Yes, so you will never expect an Englishman to appreciate the African Cup of Nations more than an African. It will never happen.
But he's saying it's not a major tournament. It's only
So
for
that
Africa.
is his own bias. That bias will go with him to his grave. But though he has apologized, but I don't need his apology. I don't even need him to tell me the African Cup of Nations has the value it's supposed to have. As an African, I believe the African Cup of Nations is bigger than the Euros.
Okay.
Because it's a
It's bigger than what?
Yeah, it's bigger than the Euros to me.
Okay,
Because,
the Euros.
Yeah, to
Now,
me.
okay, now
because
let's
as an
talk about
African, I
this
appreciate
Mikel
the
one
AFCON.
now.
But for Mikel, Mikel Obi has his own priorities.
But what do you
He
think?
might-
What do you think?
I think Mikel
No
is
lie,
just
you.
talking based on his own, the joy he derived
Okay.
from winning the African Cup of Nations.
Sure.
Because as a Nigerian,
Personally.
yes, as a Nigerian, it's a dream for every
Yeah,
footballer
true.
to win the African Cup of Nations.
True.
It's not every footballer that played with the Super Eagles. I don't know whether Okocha only managed 94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Kanu, I don't think Kanu won the
No.
Nations
No.
Cup. Kanu
No.
never won the
No
Nations
goal.
Cup.
He didn't score.
A lot of names that have after 94 that have come and gone till 2013 for won the Nations Cup. So it was a thing of joy for
Yeah,
him.
true.
And the fact that he was even a crucial member of that team. Let's not
Yeah,
forget.
at the time.
He was a major player in that team. And the
Mikel
joy
Obi.
at that age, he was still in his prime.
Right.
So it was a good one for him. Then maybe the Champions League. Definitely, you had the Drogbas, everybody in that team. Whether Mikel played or not,
Nah,
they
he
would have
wasn't-
still
he-
managed
he
to
was in
win
the final. He played in
win
the
the
final.
Champions League.
He was.
So it depends on how he appreciated the contribution, the value, and of course the excitement he got from winning the African Cup of
Okay,
Nations over the
so
Champions League.
Ikechukwu, if you're a player, don't be biased. Tell me, if you're a player, for you, the Champions League and the AFCON, which one would you appreciate more? If you're a player, or let me say you're a Nigerian player, that's the word.
Of course, it's going to be the AFCON.
Are you sure?
Yes, of course.
The
thing
Champions League is big, oh.
see, trophies.
Right.
World Cup is the biggest, followed by nations cups. That's Euros, Copa America, Nations Cup, and other AFCONs. Then before you talk about the Champions League,
Yeah, league football.
Yes, that's the rating. So Champions League will always come behind any nation, any continental championship, and that's exactly where Mikel is actually coming from. And of course, winning it in 2013 was huge. After winning the Champions League in 2012. For Chelsea. I think that was Chelsea's first in 2012, and then winning Nigeria's third.
Yes, yeah.
Winning Nigeria's third in 2013 was so huge for him. And of course, he played a very major role,
Right.
like you said. He was the second best player in that tournament. I don't know why he didn't actually win the player of tournament, of course, but he was the second best player in that tournament, and it was a very memorable time for him. So truly, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But for Jamie Carragher, a lot of persons. This is how when he made that statement. I looked at that statement. The statement was that, unfortunately, the African Nations Cup is not a tournament that is a decider when you want to win the best player in the world. And it is true. Whether you interpret it as him saying the Nations Cup is a small tournament or not.
But he sounded like he don't know about it.
That's what I'm saying. No, when he said it, when Henry, I think it was Henry who was seated behind the the person was shocked. He was like,
What are you saying?
What his disposition his disposition to me was like, are you guys not aware? Like this,
It's thought they come along with him.
AFCON cannot decide anything, and it is the truth.
It has never decided.
It doesn't
Never
decide
decided.
anything.
I think it was a conversation of whether Mohamed Salah stands a chance. to
Yes,
win the Ballon
if
d'Or.
he wins
Yes.
the Nations
Yeah,
Cup,
and he was right in that
very, very
situation.
right.
Yes.
So
because
I'm not
winning the Ballon d'Or, you cannot expect them to use the
at all.
AFCON
You
give it to
it
him.
doesn't.
because Ballon d'Or is for Europe. It's
Yeah.
an European award.
The French award.
Then-
Yeah,
it's not an
even
AFCON
if
award.
it's the FIFA World Best Player, the AFCON is. See, let's be very honest with ourselves. we in Africa, we've not conducted our affairs properly. We've not carried the AFCON as a major tournament that should be respected. How can an Onana play his last game today and arrive in Cameroon's camp the next day?
That's crazy. One of the craziest.
It shows.
Never seen that happen before.
Jerry,
The thing is that, let me learn.
I got the stats.
The thing is that, let's face the fact that in as much as we want our own to be up there, we must know that this football we are talking about is a borrowed sport. It's not like it's an African originated sport. It originated from Europe. And you cannot do it better than them. What we are just trying to do is to set a standard so that we can also measure, so that we can say this is what we are proud of. With what the AFCON has achieved, it has tried its best, but it can still do more. That means people who are promoting it, from the footballers to CAF and all those who manage the affairs of the AFCON, we need to make it bigger. The players need to respect it. And thank God that FIFA has taken the bulls by the horn to make sure that clubs side release their players. Let's not forget, in time past, it used to be difficult to have players released for the AFCON. The players will have to start battling with their various club sides. And let's not forget, these club sides keep them for years.
They don't,
the contract.
Jerry,
They pay them lots of money.
They don't even do these things.
African national teams, how many of them pay them? They will still be owing them, even for coming. And the money is there. Somebody who did not even sweat will still hold the money. And 15 years, the person will retire and still die, and that money will still be owed to him. So how do you expect that player to be so committed and happy,
Jerry,
and carry the nation, he said?
So it's safe for us to say Carragher was right.
No,
but the body language of Carragher afterwards.
No.
Carragher was right in a situation when he said that
Salah was not going to win
it with that AFCON.
Because it's not an award decider. It's not a tournament that can decide an award.
Research properly, because if you take a look at Mohamed Salah, as far as Egypt is concerned, they've not been doing the last 3-4 AFCONs. Yeah. So there was no way the AFCON was going to even be used to grade Egypt. Because if you are going to use the AFCON to grade Mo Salah, they've been performing well.
No, Jerry, see, that's not supposed to be the yardstick, because a team that's going to win the AFCON, you cannot see it before the AFCON. I mean, nobody would have envisaged that Cote d'Ivoire would have won this war.
I can put my money at the Next Nations Cup that the chances of Egypt to win the Next Nations Cup is very, very low.
Jerry,
it's very low because they've not been performing well.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is that you cannot entirely rule them out, because Cote d'Ivoire.
No, they've never been ruled out. They were always contenders.
Yes, Cote d'Ivoire. Look at the last Nations Cup. Nobody believed they would have won this nation. But we are saying, even if Salah had won that Nations Cup, even if he had won it, it wouldn't have been a decider for him. It wouldn't have added something to him going into that Ballon d'Or or FIFA.
All right, let's talk about transfer now. About John Obi Mikel is in the story today. Mikel Obi is in the news, and he has always been in the news. But one of the most scary thing that I like when I see on TV is when you talk about players who are on the news now. You could see players like the Eintracht, Frank Fortman. You could hear about him. Ekitike, that's the name. Benjamin Sesko, RB Leipzig, you're hearing names like Aaron Vets, you know the story about today. So it's just different. Now, one man in the news that I feel like he's not being talked about like the way he needs to be. I don't want to say it's about the PR, but I'm only saying if he was a British, I think he would have been more hyped than he is today. I'm talking about no other name but Victor Osimhen. His former agent still upset over being dropped 3 years ago, and is warning club side against signing the striker by questioning his attitude. Now, despite a strong loan spell at Galatasaray and Napoli also, that move, Victor Osimhen has rejected a club move to Saudi pro side Al Hilal and preferring to stay in Europe. The ex-agent reportedly sharing the video of Victor Osimhen criticizing former Super Eagles coach Finidi George, raising concerns about his temperament and possibility affecting his transfer prospects. Now, what we knew, what we heard last, or what I know personally for me, has been the fact that, what's his name? Victor Osimhen is really not thinking about bringing down his wages. Now, we've seen clubs who are on a structure base. Chelsea, the oldest player in Chelsea is 27, that's Tosin Darabioyo. Now, you look at the structure Chelsea's having right now, that's Marco Correa's earning 110 every Thursdays. Moise Caicedo is getting 150, even though option to renew. Fernandes is like the highest, 180. Cole Palmer is 130. So, Mikel will be on his own. I know, like I had a show yesterday, yesterday morning, where we had Adeni Yojo. He was envisaging more on the part saying the money is the problem. But people are saying his attitude is also a concern. Now, this is Agent Nabat Bele. I don't know what you make about him, but for me, this kid, that's the word, that's what Mikel called him. He's a kid. Mikel called the kid. This kid, right, Victor Osimhen, has lived up to his dream, and I feel like he has potential. He knows what he wants for himself. He's 26. This is not the first time Al Hilal are calling for him, and he's saying no. I still have what it takes. But the question is, aside this talk now, where is next for Victor Osimhen? I'm looking at all the club side, and someone said Man United is cool, and I'm like, there's no pressure when he goes to Man United. But Victor Gyökeres is saying, I don't want Man United, I'm Arsenal. I want Arsenal. So what's next for our Nigerian player? Because right now, there's a talk about Jonathan David of Leo going to Galatasaray. So everything is looking like it's filled. Where's the way forward?
Well, let's talk first on the part of the ex-agent, who, of course, bad blood is supposed to.
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to be there. Somehow, I feel he felt.
I think it depends on how.
He felt hard done by Osimhen,
right.
by, of course, cancelling the contract with him. But I mean, move on. That's what life is all about. Just move on. But on the part of Osimhen, where is he going? Where can suit his style of football? A lot of people have said Chelsea Football Club, but Osimhen cannot be paid that amount.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why it's looking more like Chelsea's not even looking in his direction.
Are you taking away the attitude part of it? The attitude is not part of it.
Look, if you
don't think the attitude in any way affecting.
If you deliver the goods, forget it. Attitude. I mean, if not, well, hopefully he gets a manager who can manage him, man management, to know how best to react and when not to react. You know, when you talk about attitude, Sir Alex Ferguson had characters on his team.
World-class players.
World-class characters. Yeah. And he managed them very well. A lot of managers don't know how to do man management, which is actually a problem. But then, let's only be hoping that he gets to a club where he can get a good man manager that would help him do better. At 26, going to 27, he definitely looks like someone that could still give the next 3 years, 4 years, if possible. I mean, look at Cristiano Ronaldo, exceptional on his part. But 3-4 years, Osimhen can still give more. So a good club, like maybe, just maybe, I don't know why, Arsenal at this point.
Okay, they look like a club side that's still waiting to know. But Ikechukwu, Mikel Obiano Osimhen, just confusing. So Victor Osimhen, I want us to look into the part of, you've talked about attitude. I don't want to believe that's the reason. Aside that Finidi saga, would you have ever thought that Osimhen was this? I mean, this.
No one gave Osimhen one fight too. Let us know video.
For where?
In the couple and say, "Come move inside this room."
Okay, let's hear from you. Tell me.
So,
so basically, you talk about this, but I want to talk about the attitude part because his agent is using the attitude now as the main talk.
Right. So yes.
As a yardstick to hold him down and spoil his name on club side. But I just feel like we've seen Osimhen now. We've seen Osimhen a very good. Osimhen is a world-class striker.
Delivers for you.
Yeah. So tell me.
So the thing is, right, before, football is a big business.
Right.
And the way the Caucasians, the way the Europeans actually, see footballers, they see them first as commodity before, what you actually see them on the pitch. So it means that what they're actually going to be giving you on the field is not just for them, it's not just the talent on the field. They will also be coming with, baggages like endorsement that's going to be profitable for the club. So all of this put together is what makes you, a top talent. And let me talk about Obafemi Martins, and I'll come back quickly to Osimhen. You remember that when Obafemi Martins signed for Newcastle United, he was the highest paid Puma player in Africa at the point, right? His contract with Puma was the biggest in Africa. A player of Victor Osimhen's level at this point, he should be at least bagging one of those big deals in Africa.
Right.
And the question is why? Okay, now let's come back to Osimhen. Osimhen first. After he made that rant video, I said this is going to ruin his career.
Really?
Yes, because a player like that, you should know better. That Finidi George is a Champions League winner.
Right.
He's got a circle of friends who has been following him ever since he became the coach of the Super Eagles. They want to, be interested in why this happened to you. Why did this player, act like this? That was an IG live. While he was doing it, some persons behind was trying to caution him. Yeah. He was ranting and say he was, trying to, he was very angry. Yeah. Now, if you look at our last World Cup qualifier game, I think it was against Zimbabwe. That we
Yeah,
drew.
Zimbabwe 1-1.
Victor Boniface was trying to talk to
And
him.
he did that.
He did that.
Right.
Now, he shows one thing, he's hot-headed. And there's something about players that are hot-headed in Europe. From Eric Cantona to Mario Balotelli
Di Canio.
to Di Canio to what's his name? Diego Costa.
Yeah, that's just on the rest.
Every single one of them have a very short career. They're exceptional footballers, but they have a short career. Why?
Short span.
Yes, because club sides are very wary, careful bringing them in. Now, Victor Osimhen has a chance. He has proven himself now in Galatasaray, shows that I have the quality club side really want. Now, he has an option. The option is sit down, because at this point, your image has been badly battered.
Right.
Whether you like it or not. Your image, that's why when they are signing a club, a player, they will say image right. Your image has been badly battered, which means it's really going to bring something for the club. So as regards endorsement now. So now, what I would have expected him to do, instead of going to Galatasaray, is, you know what, Chelsea, I'm willing to take pay cuts. After my first season, if I score this number of goals, my money moves.
Before he made the move to Galatasaray.
Yeah, before he made the move to Galatasaray. Now the option is still very much open. You can still also make that deal because some other top clubs are still very interested. Right. Liverpool is talking about Darwin Núñez and Chiesa going the other way, and then for him to actually come.
Liverpool, I think more basically now on Isak.
Yeah, of course, Newcastle is most likely not going to allow him. But the thing is, if he must make that move, this is the sacrifice is certainly going to be making. First, because of where he's coming from, the part of the world he's coming from, and because of the negative energy around him at this point, he needs to actually take a pay cut, settle in a top club in Europe. One season, it's all about contract. Fabregas took a pay cut, £4 million to join Barcelona.
Yeah.
It's not the first time. It's not, and at that point, Fabregas was arguably one of the best midfielders in Europe. Just the same way Osimhen is one of the best strikers in Europe at this point. So yes, it's that point you can actually make because he's 27 now. Max has got about 3 active years in Europe. If he doesn't make that call now, if he doesn't make that big move now, it's going to really, really tell on his career. Because Galatasaray, see, what he did in Galatasaray is just for everybody, okay, now Osimhen. If he continues in Galatasaray, nobody's going to look at him again.
Yeah, no more.
Because, come on, we expect you to actually do it. You're bigger than this stage. Now take the big leap.
Right. Okay, so Jerry, tell us, I don't know, tell us about Osimhen. What's your take on Victor Osimhen? His talk is very long, but...
Yeah. If you give me a 3-hour show, I will not talk less of what I know about Osimhen. Osimhen's situation is he's in a fix right now. The fact that his club side, Napoli, has put him in a very difficult spot. In the sense that he was badly treated by the club side. Okay. And he was not appreciated with what he gave to the club side. He put his all on the pitch and won them the league title. The best thing they could do for this man is to make it easy for him to make a choice on where he wants to play his football. With all due respect, I think De Laurentiis has proven to be an ungrateful football club owner with the way he has been treated. Because if Laurentiis were to be appreciative of his talent and what he gave to the club side, the best thing they could have given back to Osimhen is to make it easy for him to leave. Okay, 65 million, a lot of club side may not want to pay that kind of money. Let him go on have an agreement with this young man. For instance, the club side went as far as mocking him on their official social media page. It is very wrong. And since then till now, no official apology has come from De Laurentiis or even the club themselves. And they even said that if he's going to remain at the club side before he moved to Galatasaray, that he was going to be on the bench. And Conte was even making the move to make sure that he was not going to be relevant to the team.
Right.
Now the situation is now that it's now difficult for him to make that big move. Talking about his wages, Osimhen will have to come to reality. Napoli increased his wages as at then because he was the next big thing. He was doing well. And he doesn't expect any club side to cover that much money after paying so much to get him into their club side. He should come to reality for crying out loud. Try and reduce your wage. And talking about people who are managing, Osimhen does not have people who tell him the truth around this corner. People who are father figures. People who manage. Every great player has such.
Yeah, sure.
Take a look at Messi. Messi has a structure. His parents around him. He has good managers and so on and so forth. They go as far as even getting him deals and so on. His image makers are doing 100% job. But the Osimhen want to eat his cake and have it. He will make all the money, put everything in his pocket.
And it doesn't work like that.
everybody, it doesn't work like that. You have to make your money work for you. You have to think like a businessman. Osimhen is a street boy. He doesn't have that kind of sense. And it's unfortunate that the people around him are not helping his football career. Because age is no longer on his side.
Right.
He's thinking about making all the money now. He has forgotten he's going to retire. He has forgotten he's going to have a legacy he will need to look back on.
Right,
It's
okay.
not about what you do on the pitch. There are a lot of things that are involved. Even David Oistin has even said it. He's a respected figure when it comes to the transfer circle.
Right.
Imagine the information already has that Osimhen has issues with character and his wages are too much. So those are the things that are creating a stumbling block. So the cause who will speak well for him in
All
those
right.
little rooms.
Yeah, I'm going to hold you on that.
He's
Like
not- they already have
you
a-
already said you have. If you're given all the time, you're going to say a lot about Victor Osimhen. But guys, thank you so much for making it real on the show today. The weekend kickoff, big Saturday. Just enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for making it a worthwhile moment, and also to you out there, thank you so much for being part of the show. This show comes your way again next week Saturday, same time. You already know, same place. We are the voice of the people, and the weekend kickoff is done now. My name is Kizzy K, and I'm signing out. But I'll see you again next week. Peace out. Isn't it on your call?
People's Voice, where we get to amplify the story